during these very volatile times. Um, I would argue that the response itself, that when was the last time we saw the world flat-footed on an issue, something that affected everyone, right? I think it's fair to say that globally we were unprepared. There's no shame in that. We had never experienced this before. So we can see that we're really not rising to the occasion. We make adjustments and we ultimately will address this problem, but right now it's a bit of a mad scramble with a lot of uncertainty and misinformation, right? So we are sinking to the level of our preparation, and we feel that. We're just now responding in different ways. So I think it's a concept that I want to share with everyone, and I really want to applaud Anthony because, you know, the things that we do quietly day in and day out are ultimately, those are the things that define us as it relates to trading. And I think he does everyone a great service by reminding them to keep it simple, the way that he expresses things, the daily practices and the thought processes that he encourages everyone to use. I really think it's very important. And the second thing that I wanted to say is that you really have to double down on communication. I say to the individuals in our office, and this is a bit quirky, so forgive me, but I say, be the anti-ostrich, right? Because when people experience stress, when you're not rising to the occasion, you're sinking to your level of preparation or lack thereof, you tend to shut down. You tend to not communicate. You may even turn the screen off, right? During the last crash, how many people just didn't open their 401k statements? Not opening your platform, not looking at your statements, not monitoring your positions, not opening your 401k statements. Those are all versions of ostriching. So the challenge that I give to the individuals in my office, that you have to be an anti-ostrich. You have to be very proactive with your communication and reach out even when it may be uncomfortable, and communicate and ask people the vital questions that are necessary, that on their own they may not have the fortitude to confront, right? If you're in a trade, what am I going to do with this trade? If you're running from a loser, who do you have to ask you to pull the car over and say, how do you plan to manage this? I know that Anthony talks about that all the time. He talks about managing our losses. That's why he's such a huge proponent of the micros, right? That's another service that he's providing. So but some days, the quiet times when it's just you in the mirror and you're up against VUCA, right? Sometimes all you have is yourself to ask yourself those questions. So I would encourage everyone to double down on asking yourself, what is your level of preparation? What are you going to sink to? What is your structure? What is your process? And by the way, part of that can be, when am I out? When am I going to be on the sidelines, right? Remember, being on the sidelines is the third position. You're either long, you're short, or you're on the sidelines, right? So in certain market conditions, that's completely acceptable. Lastly, what is your framework for communication, and what rules do you have with yourself when you're going to be allowed to honestly ask yourself the right questions, so that you're not being an ostrich with things that may cut right down to the core of fear and greed and the things that could hold you back in your trading. So that's that. And it's been crazy here, I'll tell you. I said we've been having margin calls, debits, unbelievable volatility. We've been doing business continuity and disaster recovery plans as well. We have a lot of staff that are working remotely now. For our brokers, they have the data feeds that they need, the trading platforms. Per regulations, all of their interactions and their phone conversations need to be recorded. So we have third-party recorded cell phones. They're working remotely from laptops with recorded cell phones, with things being forwarded at the phone switch. And it really is surreal when you take for granted the infrastructure, tools, and support that are provided in a traditional office environment, and then you have to disconnect from that and do business in a different way. That it can get you on your heels a little. So But at the end of the day, it's a very positive exercise for us, and we'll be stronger and better as a result of it.
Hey, Ken,
Go ahead.
that's awesome. And I'm not a humble. I joke around and as not to be a humble guy, but deep down I am. And I've been humbled by having just asked 2 doctors to come in and talk, and bam, they're there yesterday. And then yourself, here you are running a bunch of brokers and doing all the stuff that you're doing, and then bam, you jump in. So I appreciate that, because everyone's important. Some people obviously have different levels of importance at certain times. So really cool that you come in and do this. I can't thank you enough.
I want my pleasure. Actually, I did send an email yesterday morning communicating with staff about people working remotely, things like that. And maybe this is an appropriate way to end this commentary, and hopefully everyone in the room can take something from it. Once again, you're not going to rise to the occasion. You're going to sink to the level of your preparation. What is your preparation? What's your structure? What's your process? And then be the anti-ostrich with yourself, with one another, with maybe leaning on Anthony more actively. Make sure that you're doing that. This is what I said to all of my coworkers yesterday. I would like to reiterate gratitude, appreciation, and respect for everyone during this volatile and trying time. The market volatility alone has been a significant test, let alone all of the other challenges that we face. Any one of them would mark memorable times requiring fortitude, teamwork, and trust. The confluence of these conditions is surreal, but I am confident that we will collectively meet the demands of this moment and ultimately prevail. So I hope that perhaps those words land with you, and that they can carry you forward into the great unknown as the markets continue to trade and we try to get on the right side.
Not only was that awesome, I'm going to plagiarize it. I'm going to take it and send it to
What's
people.
Mine is yours, brother. You know that.
I'm going to plagiarize it, put Anthony Drager. Now, Ken, thanks again. I really appreciate it. And you do great stuff over there, and you're well-spoken, and you sometimes don't give yourself enough credit. But next time you're buying the cigar.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, yeah, I think you're 1 for 10 there, Drager. Maybe I might let you double down on that, but we'll see.
I am behind. All right. Thanks again.
So, are you sure you don't want to just thank you, everyone? You know where to find me if you ever want to reach out.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you guys, if what was I going to say? Not about tomorrow, because I'm doing an event for Daniels tomorrow, and I'll send out the link to you guys. It was something we had arranged prior to this, but the whole notion of you're still driving or taking the train downtown, Ken, this morning?
Yeah.
And it was pretty, what was it, half empty?
A third, quarter. I mean, it was 25%.
So it was weird, pretty weird.
Yeah, it's a ghost town.
It's a ghost town. In the city, you're downtown, it's a ghost town.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, forgive the, here.
Hey, Ken, before you go, since he owes you a lot, just remember the VIG. He gets behind on stuff. And
he does. It's a variable VIG. So there you go, everyone. There's the Chicago River. And
wow.
Normally it's kicking, but there's nothing going on today.
And it's lunchtime, so it would be busy.
It would be jamming normally. So.
And that building you've seen right to the right is the CME Group building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's correct.
You're right across the street from that. So that's crazy. That is a ghost town. People need to bind together and realize there's no R or D next to your name. There's one enemy, and that's this virus. And I think that we will come out the other side of it better than ever before. In fact, I'm positive of it. So, Ken, thanks for the wise words. And
thank you very much. I'm going to leave the meeting, and I don't think I'm going to break anything, but apologies in advance if the party comes to an end. Hold on.
And I'll get you the cigar next time. As long
Anthony, all it's asking me to do I want to leave the meeting?
Yeah, just say leave. Yeah, don't end anything. Just leave meeting. Thank you, sir. And if he ends up knocking everything down, just relog in, but we're good to go. He left. Good stuff. Ken's a good guy, and he's just a well-prepared guy and action behind words. So let me stop. I actually recorded that because I thought it was going to be good, and I missed maybe the first 2 minutes of it. But